Bam bam! I am President Chad. This is Robert Wallace, and you are viewing the United Hour. We've got a lot to talk about today. We must talk about the game earlier today. We had a little match reaction, but we're gonna do a little bit of a deep dive now. We're also going to be talking about the man Cristiano Ronaldo. Is it CR7 or is it CPR7? What's really going on with Cristiano Ronaldo? We have to have that conversation today. If there is no other day, today is the day we need to talk about Cristiano Ronaldo. And then, of course, we've got the top shutter and Boom Man segment. We've got on the record, and we got some very interesting developments coming out from behind the scenes at Manchester United that we're also going to get to in the dying parts of the program. But we want to start off by, Robert, you and I haven't gotten to speak about the match today. So, what was your thoughts on the match today, and how things progressed? What were your thoughts?
Um, well, to me, it was a bit. It was. It was not to me. It wasn't a very good game. To me, it was. The first half was not. We had chances, yes, but to me, we didn't. We didn't play like we were the best side. We
Didn't feel
gave
like a dominant team.
no. We gave Ammonia. Who was the name? Is Ammonia Amania? I don't know the name. And
It starts with a O, but it's
right.
pronounced ammonia.
Right, like the chemical ammonia,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
Right. The team is named Ammonia, and we are Manchester United, right? And we still couldn't beat these people in the first half. It just shows that the team itself is just lacking. Because we always saying we needed a response. We always saying we needed a response. The response was supposed to have been a dominant performance over these guys, and the game ended up being very nervy. In the end, it began very nervy. We were missing chances. We were trying too hard to score, and then they scored, and then for a good 10-15 minutes of the game, they were on top. And it took subs to come on to change the game. And even then, we were 3-1 up. And then it was 3-2. And then for about 10 minutes at the end, we were all again nervous. Because, if they were a better team, we could have drawn the game or maybe even lost the game. And that should not be happening. It doesn't, to me, that to me just shows that we are not where we are supposed to be. I think we I, it just seems like we are falling back into old habits too often. We go behind, okay, fine, we went behind. But then to me, there was
Let
no
me let
fight
me
to
let
get
me
back.
let me let me pick you up on that point.
Mhm.
Who do you think is responsible for that? Do you think that is Ten Hag, or is it that these players have been inconsistent for so long?
Mhm.
Because the first goal was Marcia's fault.
Yeah.
He,
Mhm.
he he hasn't been part of this bunch, right?
Mhm.
Um, I can't give Anthony any wrong. I can't give Casemiro any wrong. I can't give Martinez any wrong. They
Mhm.
they had fairly solid games,
Mhm.
but you know, is it the? Do you think that it is the just the team underperforming for a long period of time, and old habits are hard to break, or do you think in some way or regard Ten Hag is dropping the ball?
It's kind of hard to say because in one aspect, right, you have to blame the manager because he's there now. You are the one who is driving the car. You're the one. So at the end of the day, you kind of have to blame him for something that are going on the field. But then at the same time, the team itself, we have grown so accustomed with this no kind of blase way of playing. We have like I said, we have been so inconsistent for so long. that we don't know how to string 2, 3 games together. We can't. It's like we will play good today, and then we can't do it again until it seems as though we need to have that gun at our heads all the time to perform, and
And
that should not
and
be the case.
and the reason I ask you the question is because I remember at halftime during the derby, I was asking myself, if I am Ten Hag, what am I telling these guys at halftime?
Hmm.
Right? I was
Hmm.
seriously asking myself that question and I couldn't think of it. I am
Hmm.
like, watch me, I don't even know where to start. I can't even, you just tell yourself the hair dryer treatment with Sir Alex, you're going and you start to cuss and carry on. Oh, no,
Right.
no, no,
Yeah.
it's not a belt things, but I didn't even think that would have worked. I didn't know what to tell these guys. Whatever it is he said, it made a difference. They came out
Mm.
and the performance in the second half was way better than the performance in the first half. Let's
Yeah.
bring add Zaire into the conversation. Good afternoon, sir. All right. Well, I'm not sure if Zaire is hearing us, but hopefully he should be on in full soon. Yeah, right. And today again, the first 20 minutes, Manchester United dominated the game. We conceded the goal. Obviously, the other team started to have self belief, but it
Hmm.
wasn't just that they had self belief. Our performance seems to have dipped. We didn't
Yeah.
maintain the same level of performance that we were playing before they scored.
No.
So again, I'm like, at halftime, I'm like, what is going on here? Clearly, these guys need an attitude adjustment. Again, Ten Hag did whatever he had to do. As you say, they need the gun put behind their head, probably they need to be shouted at. But it's like, have we fallen so badly over the last season? Because the season before, we were the comeback kings. We
Mm.
would go behind and our head wouldn't drop. We came behind from for so many games the season before when we finished second,
Hmm.
right? We were the comeback kings. So in the space of one season, you're telling me that these bad habits are so entrenched that literally Ten Hag just has to be hoping for halftime
I
to give
I
these guys a pep talk
maybe
every
I
single
don't know
game.
because I mean you say we would come back kings, right? In
Well,
that year,
we were
but
the comeback kings in that season.
right, that season, but I mean, do you remember what used to happen before? We were just dreadful. And it
Yes,
took
before that
and
season,
and
our
and it
once we
took
conceded first, our heads were dropped going all the way
right.
back to
And
Jose
then
Mourinho.
right. And then we became these comeback kings. But it took for a guy for the team to score for us to play football, which should not be the
Yes,
case.
during the time
And
of the comeback kings, yes, we didn't
then
play until we scored.
at some point we got ahead of that. And then we became the team who was trying to win games. And like now the guys are not trying to understand how to win a game. How do you win a game? Like, and to me it does not make sense. Like, you should be able to go from counter attack to domination. To me, I don't see how that is a
Especially against a team that is allowing you possession,
exactly, but
that
it
is
seems
being in a low block.
right. But then it seems as though we need the gun at our heads. We need to get to a point where the fans are against the team. The team are at the bottom of the table. The coach had to be on the fire. Like everything needs to be burning down around our club for our team to say, hey, let's go and play football. You know, I mean, I don't want to
I
bring
don't
in
know. I don't think,
Arsenal, but you know,
from my understanding, Sasha Lenz is no longer with Manchester United,
hmm
and I don't believe that Ten Hag brought with him a professional sports psychologist.
hmm
But I do believe that a big part of the issues at Manchester United is definitely psychological.
hmm
And I would advise Ten Hag to probably invest in a sports psychologist.
hmm
Let the team bring in one because I don't know. Martin Phillip is asking, what exactly did Ten Hag do wrong with the game today? I personally don't believe Ten Hag did anything wrong. The starting 11 he put out there, I believe, was a good starting 11, a solid starting 11.
Yeah.
And the manager cannot go out there and score goals. We created about three solid chances
Yes,
before
not half chances. Yes, yeah.
solid
Because
chances
because I'm
before they
hearing
scored.
I'm hearing
Right?
people saying we could have scored 3 and 4, and we could have scored like 5 and 6 and 7 before. No, 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 no. And what's real gilt edge,
Yeah.
like real chances,
Three.
not
We had three
half
solid.
chance.
Yeah.
Mm,
We had three solid chances before they scored.
mhm.
Um, we didn't really have any after for the rest of the first half.
No.
And I'm sure if we scored first, then we may have gone on to score about six.
Hmm.
But it just shows you psychologically the confidence. They scored and they look like a totally different team.
Yeah.
The way they played for the first 20 minutes and the way they played after they scored was totally different. It was
Whereas
not the same team. And that
another
shows
team,
you how big confidence is in football.
exactly. And whereas another team, they may have scored, and another team would have said, okay, you score now, and then we will slap you right after, and then show you who is really the ball. But we never stepped up. We
Yeah,
never.
we went down again. I think fear started to step into the players like
Mhm.
OMG, we down.
Again,
What going
again.
to happen? And it took halftime for Ten Hag to refocus this team. And one of my problems is the lack of leadership at Manchester United. Because there is no one of the things I loved about Roy Keane. I used to call Roy Keane the Sir Alex Ferguson on the pitch.
Mhm.
You know at halftime you're going to get the hair dryer treatment from Sir Alex inside, but while you were on the field, you was getting it from Roy Keane.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Roy Keane, if you see any dip in performance, he go over to that player, and you would hear these players talking now when they talk about playing at that time in the 90s and playing with Roy Keane, that he will come up to them and talk to them. I remember what was his name? It was one of the Neville brothers, not Gary,
But the next
the
one,
other one.
I
He
can't remember right now.
Phil,
say that again.
Phil, Phil.
Phil.
Phil, yes, Phil Neville. Was given a story, and he was recounting that you remember Ronaldo was there with all the step overs and all the tricks and the flicks. So he was working, during the week, he was working on a kind of crossover move, and he went and he got the ball and he did the move and he beat the player, and he got the ball again and he run and he beat the next player with the same move, and the crowd cheer, yeah, and he do it a third time and the crowd cheer, yeah, and Roy Keane walk over to him and say, "Hey, stop effing about."
Mhm.
No, he didn't lose the ball, The man do it, it come off, the crowd cheering, he feeling like $1 million. And Roy is like, hey, you're not accustomed doing that, just play football.
Yeah.
Don't mess around. Roy Keane was the coach on the field. Who do we have that does that? If Ten Hag doesn't, if something happens in the middle of the second half, and Ten Hag doesn't have an opportunity to really talk to these guys, who's going to grab this team and say, come on, shake up, get into a groove, and we have to hope that the leaders develop in this team.
Mhm.
We really have to hope that leaders develop, right? Um, Zaire, I know you gave your reaction earlier on, so let's jump straight into the topics for today. And the first topic we have we have to talk about Cristiano Ronaldo. Now, to me, I almost didn't even want to bring this topic up because we have been speaking about Cristiano Ronaldo regularly. But after that performance today, after the missed chances today, I think it would have been an insult to our viewers if we don't talk about Cristiano Ronaldo. And I want the people who saw the game to get involved in the comments and tell me your thoughts about Cristiano Ronaldo at Manchester United right now. I'm not talking about his legacy. I'm not talking about whether he's the GOAT or not. I am talking about this present time in history, Cristiano Ronaldo at Manchester United. What are your thoughts? You know what I mean? CR7, we all know what that stands for. We all know what that brand means. We all know the fear that strikes into defenders and goalkeepers around the world, or has he become CPR7? Old, paraplegic, probably need to be on a wheelchair and crutches. What is going on? I wanna go to Zaire first. What is it? Is it just a slump, Zaire? Is it just he not sharp? A little, goal strikers go through this from time to time, or is it just age? Is father time? As I always say, and it is said. It's not like it's my saying that father time is undefeated, right? You could fight with him real long, but you're gonna lose. Right? You're going to lose. So, what you think it is, Zaire? Talk to me.
Pleasant good afternoon to both of you. Apologies for being late. As I was telling Chad, my computer seems to be on Manchester United FC rebuild mode. It takes forever to get going. I definitely will not be shopping wherever Richard Mutter buys his computers, so I'll have to find out where he doesn't shop. I'll shop there. Cristiano Ronaldo, the 450 plus thousand pounds a week question that we all keep asking ourselves. Honestly, Chad, as I mentioned to you earlier, looking at the game, if I look at all the chances that he would have missed today, we can chalk off some of them to the effects of father time,
To
right?
the effects
That
of?
he, father time. That he
All right.
simply is not as young and as at the height of his powers as he used to be. But we can also chalk up some of them to a lack of competitive game time, a lack of working in game situations with what seems to be Ten Hag's first 11 starting squad. And that means in game situations with Anthony, Sancho, or Rashford on the left, knowing who they have to cross the ball into in the middle, in game situations with Ericsson, Bruno, Casemiro, whoever it is, makes up the midfield, because you can only do so much in a training session. When you are out there in the field, the cohesion builds. And we saw it. We saw it when the team went on the 4-game run. We saw that 11 that started against Liverpool, they built on it in the next game. They built on it. Everything was looking good. And I don't count on paper the Sociedad game is a loss, but we sat and we looked at that game live, and the decision was a ridiculous decision. So even in that game, the cohesiveness was there to a certain extent. So I will not go so far as to say CPR7. What I would say is when we play with him versus when we play without him, it is clear that the players around have to change their modus operandi. If we are playing with Anthony Martial as our target guy in the box, there is different things that can be expected of him versus what can be expected of Cristiano Ronaldo. So I don't think it is only so much of a question as to how his game is and if it's father time and if it's rusty, but also if the people around him are adaptable enough to facilitate playing with two different styles of number nines in the team. And I don't think anybody looks at it from that angle. They focus on Ronaldo and what he can or cannot do. But can the players around him effectively change the way they play? If you start with Ronaldo, take him off, bring on Martial, or vice versa. Or you play Martial 4 games in a row, he gets injured, something happens, you rest him, and then you bring Cristiano. Are they mentally up for that? And is their football acumen at the level where they can change how they need to play to facilitate the type of number 9 they're playing with? Now we
Robert,
saw it today. They tried a lot to give him that 700th club goal down to the end. I mean, I saw people sacrificing personal glory in an effort to give him chances to score that goal today, right? So maybe when they all figure out what needs to be done and he gets an extended run of games playing more minutes, because I would start him against Everton and I would start him next week Tuesday, and that would be 3 games in a row. Let's see how things go. If in those 3 games he's still firing blanks, then you're gonna have to be asking a different question come the following Sunday.
Robert, I wanna piggyback a little bit on Zaire's response to twist the question to you a little bit. We saw players trying, right? Ronaldo is presently on 699 club goals. We saw players trying to set him up, right? Trying to feed him. And time and time again, he's missing. He hit the post. You know what I mean? You know, Zaire talk about whether the players could play with Ronaldo. Is it that Ronaldo is finding it so difficult to fit into Ten Hag system? Because the last game Ronaldo played, I remember him getting a few good chances as well. And missing. It wasn't like, you know, he didn't get chances. It wasn't like people wasn't finding him. It wasn't like he wasn't making the runs and he wasn't in the right place. You know, a lot of the missed opportunities was the fact that he just wasn't scoring. He didn't score. So you know, what do you think it is? Is the players not supporting him enough? You think it's just rust? Is a striker slump, or is just age?
I well, first thing first, I don't agree with them trying to give him his 700 goal. Right, that to me should have never been the focus. Yes, you know what, we were 3-2 up, but Rashford, right, was on for a goal. He could have had a hat trick. He chose to pass the ball, and you pass the ball was off, and Ronaldo missed. But you could have had your hat trick, make it 4-2, put the game to bed. To me, trying to make another guy score to me is counterproductive, to what we are trying to do. Now,
But you don't think if Ronaldo really gets a goal, a non-penalty goal, that it'll help his confidence and therefore help the team ultimately?
well, that is the thing. I mean, I don't know, because I think at the end of the day, yes, he missed preseason. Okay, fine, he did. Right? Now, I understand the whole thing with him and his son and him seeking help for that situation. I understand that was a problem. I understand why he took the time to do that. Okay, because the truth is, I mean, if you all remember, his son passed, and literally 3 days later, he was on the field playing football. I don't think he really took the time to really process, you know, that whole thing, And I think the same way how we speak about the other players and their mental, and their mental health. We all assume because he's Ronaldo, he has this kind of this iron mind, which I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, the man is still a guy. He's still human. But I think we say, well, not me, but I understand he's 37 years old. He's old. In terms of football, the man is old. But the man has set such impossible standards in his career. And I call him because it is impossible standards that he himself set for himself. And now he can't even live up to his own standards. And now we are here judging him on what he was doing 10 years ago. 8 years ago. He's 37 years old. If this was Zlatan, would we be here saying these things? No.
If
We all
Zlatan
be
was
saying
missing like that, yeah,
we
we would
would.
be asking. We would be
when
asking the
when
question.
he
We
was
would be
here
asking
and
the
he
question.
was old then. He was old then. Many were still giving him the
Yeah,
blind
but
because
but
he
but
was
but,
Zlatan.
but
You know?
Zlatan performed fairly
But
fairly well for
the thing you
United.
see, to me, I think it is very unfair. It is very unfair. It comes across as bias. It comes across as as a witch hunt. Everything that he does is under microscope. I get it. He himself created this world that he now has to live in. He did it himself, which I mean, one could say, okay, fine, maybe it is a little bit unfair, but Ronaldo put himself through his hard work and dedication on this level that now he can't live up to, and the world can't accept that he is
So
mortal.
let me get clear what you're saying. He can't live up to it anymore. So we as Manchester United, the team, the players, the manager, and Ronaldo himself has to accept that there are certain levels he just cannot hit, is what you're saying. And we have to adjust to his new level, which is a little below.
Which is, and I would say that, I would say that because I think, again, he did not have a preseason, right? And it shows. It shows.
Bro,
People are gonna,
I just know it. I hear he didn't have a preseason, eh, bro.
right,
I
but what
hear
I'm
that. But
saying
we
is that
into
the
a
guy,
month. The man
right,
has been
yes,
training
but
for over a
again,
month.
if he was any other player, we would be saying, "Oh, give him a chance." Because when Rashford, right, was going through his slump, people were saying, "Oh, give him a chance." Until it became a problem, and then people were saying, "Get rid of him." Martial was the same thing. "Oh, give him a chance," and then it became, "Get rid of him." To me, that we went from Viva Ronaldo to get him out. There was no give him a chance.
I
You
don't know.
know,
I haven't heard a
to
large
me,
call about get rid of Ronaldo. I
hey,
don't know if
again,
you have.
you may be blind, right, to what's going on. You may not want to see it, but there are people rejoicing at the fact that he's old. How can you be a fan of this club and rejoice to see Ronaldo being old? You complain that he's old, but then you're upset because he can't run. He's old. You're upset because he can't outrun certain people, but he's old. But you expect him to run, but he's old. You can't expect him to do, to act as though he where he was at Real Madrid. He's not there. He's here. I mean, I get he was supposed to have left. He should have left. The Glazers, I believe, and it is my belief that they themselves kept him because they saw their cash cow leaving. They knew.
I wanna dive into that, and I'm glad you
Mhm,
brought it up
mhm.
because we're talking Ronaldo, right? So we're not
Yeah.
just talking the performance, we're talking Ronaldo. I have heard a lot of people say what you have just said. I even heard, I think it was Roy Keane or or Gary Neville, or one of the pundits, former United player, was saying that the club kept him. And I'm thinking, where did we get that from?
No, I'm not
Because
saying
from
that
my
people.
knowledge, the only club that came in for Ronaldo, I'm not talking about who was interested. I mean who came in for Ronaldo. Right? There's a difference between saying, hey, we're interested in Ronaldo, and picking up the phone, calling Manchester United and saying, hey, we seriously looking at this player, give us a figure. The only club that I remember that came in for Ronaldo was a club from Saudi Arabia
Mm,
that Ronaldo had no intentions of going to. Right?
right, and I understand that.
So if nobody else came in, could we blame the Glazers for keeping Ronaldo? It's not like they had
Look,
an
I
opportunity to sell him.
again, I am not saying that people at that teams didn't say no. They think that said no to him, and I understand that. But I'm also saying that the Glazers themselves, right, didn't. I mean,
You
if you
don't
s-
you don't think that
if
they would have
Eric,
let him leave?
no, 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 I think they would have let him leave for the correct fee, right? And I think if Eric had said we don't want him, then they should have done what they had to do to get rid of him. But they didn't. To me, I don't think that the club themselves tried that hard to really, ease him out. The same way how they eased out other players, they could ease him out. But to me, I don't find that they tried hard enough to ease him out.
Okay,
You
so
know?
sir, I wanna get you back in on this convo because you were saying to me earlier that as far as Ronaldo leaving in the summer, that I think you shared the opinion of Robert that Ten Hag wanted to see what he would have gotten from Ronaldo, whether he could have played that other role that had played at Ajax and was very successful playing that role. Whether we could play with him in that role at United and see what he would get. And now that he has seen, now that he has seen, probably not too happy. But you know, what are your thoughts as far
Let,
as
let's
Robert and I was saying?
let's go back in the timeline a little bit. So summer 2021, the opportunity arrives for us to get him back, and he comes back, right? He comes back, I believe, still believing that he could lead the club to some sort of glory, which we haven't had since Sir Alex left. Remember in the man's welcome back message to the fans, he ended it by saying, P.S. Sir Alex, this one is for you. The man understood what this club lost when Sir Alex Ferguson left. We have not seen daylight at the end of the tunnel since he left. And not disregarding the Europa League trophy and the FA Cup trophy and the League Cup trophy that we won in that time. But that is isolated success. And because the team at that point in time was content to play a certain way to win those titles. I would go on record as stating after that SDG era of philosophy again, and I don't ever want to go back to the Jose brand of football. But those were the brands that won those trophies because they had the players buying into that brand. So we've moved away from that. Cristiano Ronaldo arrives back at Carrington in the summer of 2021, supremely confident that I, Ronaldo, the prodigal son, has returned and I can do this. However, 12 months later, when he's sitting down looking at the end of his first season, he realizes that I am still Ronaldo. Here I am, leading scorer for the club. But Manchester United Football Club finishes a 38-game season with a goal difference of 0. Even the biggest, craziest gambler in the world was not dropping £100 on that odds if you gave him 1,000,000 to 1 that we would finish the season with a goal difference of 0. Not 5 or 10, 0. So nobody around stepped up their game. And he was left to carry that burden at 36 going on 37. Well, in fact, he turned 37 in February this year. So into his 37th birthday and beyond. Together with the issues he's having personally in his personal life, birth of twins and then loss of one. And whatever else it is that he has not divulged to the public, and his privacy is his right. We don't have any right to pry into it. So on top of all of that, he's feeling the burden now on his 37-year-old shoulders and back of toting a club whose supporters expected the second coming of Christ, almost literally to say, with him being there, that this was our savior and we're back to the promised land. And when that didn't happen, and he sat looking at the early moves in the transfer window and realizing, but wait now, the first person we signed was $10 million worth of dividends for the owners before anybody puts a penny into fixing the squad. These owners asking me to sit down here and take instructions from Harriet the Spy? That can't be happening. So at some point, the bubble burst for him, and it burst in a big way. Also, I will die by my saying that the Premier League is the most competitive league in the world. Any league when number 20 can regularly beat number 1 on any given week, except when number 1 is Man City at this point in time, has to be the most competitive league in the world. So he came back to a league that is vastly different to what he left. He came back to a breed of and a style of play by opponents that will not necessarily allow him to dominate the way he used to. Things have to change. He has to be willing to play differently. He has to look at some of the great players in the past who at the club, like Scholes, like Rooney, like Giggs, changed how they play. Chad, you're on mute.
Right, thank you. I was saying stick up in this area. I want to ask you a question. Good afternoon to Courtney, Nigel, and Martin Phillip in the comments. Nigel is saying he missed the game today. We won, but you really didn't miss the game, bro. I
No,
think
he
you would
didn't
have
miss
been more
anything.
upset. You would have been more upset seeing the game than just seeing the score. Right? So you didn't miss the game. Um, I want the question I want to ask you, Zaire, is this. Do you think Ten Hag being the tactician that he has already proven to me that he's a tactician. Because Ten Hag came wanting to play the style of football he played at Ajax, which is almost identical tactically to what Pep does with Manchester City, just with not as talented players, right? When you look at the stats, when you look at the formations, the way the transitions on the pitch, the way he played with Ajax is almost identical to how Pep plays with City now, or has been playing with City for the past few seasons. He came to Manchester United, quickly realized he doesn't have a goalkeeper that could properly distribute the ball from the back, that is not confident on the ball. He doesn't have centre backs that are confident on the ball. And he has made tactical changes. And Manchester United has been winning games. That shows me already that Ten Hag is a bit of a tactician and he's not a one trick player. He doesn't have one way only one way to do things. My question to you is, we keep talking about Ronaldo has to change his game and Ronaldo has to update his game and Ronaldo. Do you think that Ten Hag can or even should adjust this team that when Ronaldo is playing to position him for success? Or do you think once players remain fit, he should just focus on winning games, play Martial and Rashford and the guys who in the off season was clicking and who in 5 minutes on the pitch together today show that how easy it is for them to click. Right? Clearly, Martial came on and this team looked with Rashford on, and this team just looked different. This team was finding passes that it wasn't finding 10 minutes before. Right? So should Ten Hag even try to facilitate Ronaldo at this stage? Do you think, or should he just be like, "Watch, this is working. As long as these guys fit, this is why I do it." What do you think?
It's not a straight yes or no answer. It's a yes once everybody can come to an agreement to being on the same page. And why I say that is because at this point in the season, we are in the league, we are in the Europa, we have our first round of the League Cup to play against Aston Villa coming up, I believe, if not this month, immediately after. And then you have the FA Cup to start. That's 4 competitions, Chad. And he cannot play whatever he considers to be his top 11 day in, day out over 4 competitions that are going to be running at the same time.
So you have to
These
play
players,
Ronaldo.
he has to play Ronaldo. Therefore, if you know as a manager that you have to play the man, you have to either be prepared to play how the man needs the team to play to be successful, or you had to find a way to convince him to play otherwise. The convince him to play otherwise would be play the Ten Hag system at Ajax or a high pressing system, neither of which he might be suited for at this point. Therefore, it has to be the other way. And if you still
Robert,
have this man here, you have him until the end of the season, unless something magical happens in the World Cup and then the January transfer window. You have him until the end of the season. So, brother, if you're going to be paying him almost $500,000 a week, you have to make sure you earn it.
well, that happened before Ten Hag was present and all. If I was Ten Hag, that's the least of my concerns. I don't care how much the club pay him. I care about winning games. All you hire me to win games if all you're paying him now money that's on all you. But Robert, I want to ask you the same question. Keep it as short as possible. So we want to move on. But should Ten Hag tweak things to best suit Ronaldo when he's on? Or should Ten Hag just focus on getting this team running, playing Ten Hag ball, and let's see with an eye on January to bring in another striker who could play Ten Hag ball, and let Ronaldo survive as best as he could. while he's here. What are your thoughts?
Um, well, the reason why Pep is where he is because the whole team, first team and second team, play at almost the same level.
They play pep ball.
Right.
Pep do adjust one
Irregardless.
player. Everybody playing pep ball. If you can't
Right.
play pep ball, he sell you and he brings somebody else.
Correct. We do not have that.
Well, Ten Hag is new. Pep had a
No,
lot
but
of
what I'm saying is
changes.
that we don't have that club that will sell a
Well
player.
versed, well oiled machine. We don't have
Right,
that
we
as
don't.
yet.
We are where we are. And I think if we want to survive in 3 4 competitions, all our players, all our players need to be on the same page. All. And until all the players don't get on the same page, and I mean all the players, then we are not gonna see the because we like Zahir said, we cannot play the same team day in day out, day in day out. And that's why I feel like today, even playing like people like Ericsson today should not, like Ericsson should not have been on the field. Dav De Gea should not have been on the field. Other players should have been on the field. And so I think Ronaldo is here. You know, if if Eric really and truly had the support of the Glazers, I think Ronaldo Ronaldo would not be here. But I don't think he did because the fact that we brought so many players when we were last in the league, just show that he didn't really have that backing until things were dread. To me, Ronaldo should, if he didn't want him here, then he should not have been here. And that is what City has
You're
that we
saying
don't
that
have.
the Casemiro and Anthony purchases would not have happened if we had started off successful. If we had won our first two games instead of losing our first two games.
No,
You
well,
don't think
I honestly believe that. I honestly to God believe that we would have never bought those players. Never. I honestly believe that because
okay.
the owners were content just to tread the water and come forth. So and that's why to me Ronaldo is still here. Because if Ronaldo knew that he had nowhere to stay, then he would have left, just like Lingard and Pogba and everyone else would have left. But he knew he had somewhere else to stay. He knew he had here to stay. He knew that. He knew that. And the fact that he did and he's still here, that to me just shows he and his team knew that despite whatever happened with him, he knew he had a space in the club.
Yeah, the man contract gave him at least this year. We have an
Correct.
option to extend, but
Right. So if
half a
the
million
manager
$500,000 a week.
right,
That's
so
not
but
bad. That's not
whereas
bad home to
I
stay in.
I guarantee you, if this was City, right, he would not have had a place to stay. He was gone, and he'd
And
have had to
and that
buy a new house.
that what Robert's saying there is the crux of the matter. Apart from City's players buying into Pep ball, they also know, and it has been proven since Pep has been the manager, that he could spend $100 million on you this summer, and if in 1 year or 2 years time he realizes you can't buy into his philosophy and you're not cutting it,
Ship you
his
out.
owners, they don't care how much they lose on the sale. They will get rid of you and give him a fresh blank check to bring in whoever he wants. Our players know that is not the case with the Glazers. The Glazers will hold on to them, milk them for every bit of commercial revenue they can get out of them, and then still keep them.
But that
So,
that 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 goes perfectly into the second segue that we're going to head into. But before that, I want to address this question from Josiah Bihari. He says, anybody knows the latest on Greenwood? I feel he would be a great player with Eric Ten Hag's style of play. Firstly, the second part of your question, I totally agree. I think we
also
all
agree.
feel, we all suspect that Greenwood would fit into Ten Hag's system like a hand into a perfect glove. Not an
How,
OJ glove, a perfect glove.
no, but how do you know
I,
that?
no, we believe so. We don't know so. We haven't seen it.
How we know that? I'll harken back to the season where both Rashford and Martial crossed 20 goals, and Greenwood was chipping in and contributing. And one of the things that made their front three work so well is that all three could play across all three positions in front and were very interchangeable. And we've already seen how Martial and Rashford work together in the Ten Hag system. So having one other player who could do that, I'm confident that those three would have probably been his starting three in his best 11 if he didn't have Anthony and Sancho to now consider. Now that he has Anthony and Sancho, he has options. Right? But those three would definitely be in the conversation for his starting best three up front.
So the first part of your question, in terms of what is the latest on Greenwood, we are still waiting. I can tell you what is being the suspicion is that the police does not have sufficient evidence, and they are eventually going to drop the case against Greenwood. And that is the reason why, I'm saying that is the suspicion, but that is what is believed to be the reason why the club started back name dropping him, putting him back on the page. At some point, I wouldn't be surprised if he ended up popping up in training with the under 21s. The club has a plan to ease Greenwood back, hoping that the backlash from the fan base is not too severe, that he will eventually be able to get back into the first team. Or they may eventually have to get rid of him.
Also, I agree you'll probably pop back up, but I think the coming back into club activities would only happen if the case is officially deemed closed and he's officially cleared of all charges.
Correct.
One.
However,
I think
the reason is because the suspicion that I am hearing from all the legal minds and people behind the scenes in Manchester is that is exactly what is going to happen. That the case is going to get dropped and he's going to be cleared.
A big sign of their confidence in that was they did not give up his jersey number.
Right, the jersey number as well. Right, so as far as officially just there's no news on Greenwood. But we just gave you what is the unofficial news, which is plenty. Right, there's plenty news on Greenwood. So let's jump back into the conversation. It was reported that Ten Hag has told the club, and by the club, Murtaugh and Richard Arnold, that to put a hold on the giving of signing of new contracts. Right? He said, yeah, what's going on? This way you all were doing things before is unacceptable. Players have to earn their new contract. If a player is not playing well, he is not going to get a new contract. Right? Now, how was things being handled before? We're talking about back in the Ed Woodward and Matt Judge days. Ed Woodward and Matt Judge, because they had accounting brains and was only looking at balance sheets, I honestly believe Matt Judge, working at Manchester United, never watched a Manchester United game. Never. He went to work every day. He sat down in his office and he looked at balance sheets, spreadsheets. That is all Matt Judge did. Because there is no way that you could have watched Manchester United play football over the course of a season and turn around and say, Phil Jones, here's a new contract. Mata, here's a new contract. Matic, you getting a chance to leave? No, don't leave. Here's an extra 25,000 on top of him. Here's a new. There is no way you could be watching football and make those decisions. So clearly, Matt Judge was just watching spreadsheets. So because the attitude under Herrera, thank you, Courtney, very much. Under Herrera, allowing Under Herrera contract to run down and then trying to give him a contract after he agreed 200,000 with Paris Saint-Germain. Again, clearly these fellas, they wasn't watching football, right? They were watching spreadsheets and players were assets. So it made sense to keep your asset. Now, if you refinance something, it costs more money. If you refinance a contract, so Phil Jones may actually be worth less than the boots he's playing in to Manchester United, but on the spreadsheet, we just give Phil Jones a 5-year deal, $80,000 a week. That has a cost. So on the spreadsheet, Phil Jones is worth money, and the value of our players are assets. So it means that the asset value of Manchester United was going up. And that is how things were happening under Matt Judge and under Ed Woodward. Richard Arnold came in, John Murtagh. We have the only contract negotiation that they have worked on is Bruno Fernandes, right? I do not know what their intentions were with the other people in question. We have Rashford, whose contract is he has one more year, one more season. We have an option of extension. Same thing with Fred. Same thing with David De Gea. Same thing with Luke Shaw. So all of these players, the club should be negotiating right now with them, because you don't want men to go into their last year, right? Yes, we have an option to extend, but still, you don't really want your preference. Your preference is not for guys to go into their last year. Ten Hag has said, "Here we're going." I don't know what all your plan is. We're not even going to talk to anybody about a contract extension if they're not performing on the pitch. If you're not performing, it's either we let your contract run down and you leave for free, or we try to sell you off for cheap, and get rid of you, because it makes no sense. We offering players contract extensions just to help the balance sheet of the company, right? The commercial side of the business. So when we are applying for loans or whatever, our asset side is big. It makes no sense we do that if the player is not adding value to the team. And I think, I just went into the history so that people will understand why this is significant, right? In case anybody had any questions. So I saw you nodding your heads here when I was talking about it. So I'm guessing that you are in full support of Ten Hag with this approach.
And he may very well be in a position where he can back that approach and enforce it, because if all the rumors are true that the club has been looking for somebody to buy in on part ownership, to come in with a share, they have to leverage us to the hilt, to the point beyond which they can no longer get anything from leveraging anything. So they have no source of income, that great source of income, unless somebody buys this 20% or 25% or 30%, whatever it is they're willing to sell, with the caveat that the person has no real voting power and can't throw them out or anything like that down. However, they're going to couch it. But the other thing with that too is not just the contracts that they're giving out, the length of contracts that they were giving out as well. Because remember, you, the club, now own the player's name, likeness, and image for the duration of that contract. Therefore, you can milk as much as you can out of it. Now, in the case of Jones, you're right, Matt Judge must never have looked at a football game. But then again, even if he did look at every single game for a whole day, he probably would have never seen Phil play anyhow.
But there's my point. Because if you watch the games, you would realize this guy is not playing. Why would I offer him a 5-year deal? You understand what I'm saying?
I think the Jones,
you would know he is not playing. Why? He's always injured. He very rarely ever is training. He always slip. As I hear Phil Jones training, next thing you know, he slip in the bathroom and he injured again. Clearly they wasn't watching football.
Conveniently, he is usually injured when transfer window opens. So nobody is buying an injured player. Right?
But I think I got in a lot of trouble a couple of years ago. How long ago it was, Robert? About 3 or 4 years? Years ago, when I said Phil Jones was like a cockroach. And a lot of people were upset with me. How I could say that? Now, mind you, they wasn't saying they like Phil, but they were upset how I could say Phil Jones was like a cockroach. And I said, no.
Man will survive a nuclear blast.
The only things that survive a nuclear blast is rats and cockroaches. And Phil Jones has survived at Manchester United. He
Let
and
me say,
David De Gea are the only two players that have
from the
survived
Ferguson era,
from Ferguson's era, and he has not played, so he has to be like. So he's when I was speaking, he's like a cockroach. I was referring to his ability to survive in harsh environments. When people thought I meant it in a derogatory way.
the Glazers, well, I wouldn't necessarily say the Glazers because I don't think they are the ones sitting and looking at the spreadsheets. So their
No,
minions, whether it was Woodward, Judge,
no,
whoever else it was,
yeah, Matt Judge
right?
and others, because there were others that
They
we know got fired who were also former bankers who were cooking the books.
it's just about the bottom line for them because all the Glazers are interested in is the money going to be available for us to take our dividends? Yes.
Yes.
And once the money is available for them to take their dividends, they are happy. No problem. We don't care who you buy. We don't care who you sell. We don't care what the length of the contracts are. We don't care anything about this, right? Because the point was made on another show that if you look at it, if they were really owners interested in football, if they were football owners, then they would have flown in after that City game on Sunday and asked one simple question of Richard Arnold and John Musso. How is it that we have gentlemen on our payroll who are being paid more than City's players, yet are nowhere near the caliber of the team that just trounced us 6-3? How is
Yeah.
that happening?
Yeah.
And just basic on that one game, when you compare salaries of one team and the other, right, you'll understand where it's going wrong in this club.
I know that's a very good thing. I haven't heard anybody say that, but I really wonder if after the City loss, if any of the Glazer family picked up the phone and called Richard Arnold at all,
No. Well,
asked anything,
no. No.
you know.
No. No. No.
I'm
No.
not, don't get me wrong, even
The
if they
stock price
did,
didn't go down.
that is not something we would hear
Mm.
about, eh? That is not
As
something, but
long
I'm
as the
just
stock,
saying,
as long
I
as the
wonder
price
if
of
they
the
were
stock didn't
so
go down, they didn't bother.
I wondered if they were interested in it at all. Robert, quick yes or no? Are you supporting Ten Hag with this approach? Players have to earn their new contracts.
Yeah. Yes.
So, as far
Totally.
as you're concerned, not even Marcus right now, you know, sure, nobody. Don't talk to anybody right now. Wait until later on in the season. You want to see consistency before we
Mhm.
start giving out more money.
Yeah. Because then everyone understands they don't have a home. Like again, like it goes back to like those guys who come from nothing, right? They work hard to get to something because they know it have nothing behind them. Every player in this team knows I have my contract. Every
They're
single
too,
one.
they're too, they're too cushy. So
Because
they
even
need to be fight, need to
because
be given something to fight for.
even to me, even with Bruno with his new contract, ever since he got that big bumper contract, I've not seen
Nah.
Bruno.
I wouldn't class Bruno that
I'm
way
sorry.
because
If your
the
money go up, you gotta
coming to
go
the
up.
I agree. I agree. But
If your
since
money go
coming to
up,
the
you
end
gotta
of
go up.
last season,
Hmm.
Bruno's performances haven't been stellar. So Bruno's performances to me didn't dip when he get his new contract. What we
It
waiting
did
to see
before
is
that.
his performances go up, but his performances didn't go down, right? When he got his new contract.
But,
Um,
but just one last thing on the contract situation, I would take it a little further. If I were the manager, looking at those players that you would have called out whose contracts are going to be up soon, within the next season or 2 seasons, this is where I get to test your loyalty to Manchester United and to the project here. So apart from earning your new contract, it's time we start looking at restructuring the salary system at Manchester United.
Hmm.
So let's see if people are willing to restructure the salaries in some of those contracts. Maybe not as much money guaranteed up front, but start looking at incentives based on performance,
performance bonuses and stuff. And
performance bonuses,
when those contracts
playing
are
incentives.
restructured, we are going to see it. We are going to
We will.
hear what those contracts are, and if it's just a matter of them going up and up and up, because Rashford is on £200,000. I believe Shaw is either on 150 or 175. So if you're going to give these guys bonuses, you see the difference with Bruno is, and these guys is that Bruno was getting under 100,000, and for what he was doing for the team when he first came, and his leadership position, his salary needed to be bumped up because he had guys on the bench. Watch me, the water boy was making more money than Bruno, right? So I didn't have a problem with Bruno's salary. But when we talk about how much Shaw is on, when we talk about how much Rashford is on,
Because
we really have to see
200,000
where
for
these things.
him is too much money. He should not be earning that money. He should not. He should not. You
To be
know.
quite honest,
Martin Freeman
if
said
I'm
he
being
thinks
quite
Ten Hag
honest,
will want a clean house. So he suspects, and I suspect as well, that a couple of these players probably not going to be offered a new contract at all.
no, they won't. They will not.
But we'll see how
Especially if they don't go to the World Cup.
we will see how that goes. Um, it has been reported in the press that Ten Hag is now willing to let Ronaldo go in January. Now I need to make this clear. This was reported in the press earlier in the week. So this particular has absolutely nothing to do with today. This was reported earlier in the week that Ten Hag is willing to let Ronaldo go. Robert, what are your thoughts on this?
I, as I've said before on the show numerous times, I trust nothing that those guys do. Nothing. I don't care if it was which Arnold and Motor have not proven to me that they are very trustworthy. They're not. So until I don't see him leave, until I don't see him in a New Jersey, that report means nothing because they said to us as fans, they told Eric Ten Hag, you will have this money to build your team. And they lied to him.
That's not
They have been
true,
lying to
Robert.
us.
You can't
They have
say
been
that.
lying to us
The
since
club
2000, since 2000, what, 5? They've been lying, right?
the club
Lying.
spent more money this
Ah,
season in
when,
the summer.
when,
This
when,
summer,
when we were beaten and battered and bruised at the
it don't matter
bottom of
at
the
the
table,
at
it
the end of
does
the
matter
window. We
because
spent more money
no,
than we
it
had planned.
does. It does because we would have never lost those first two games if we had gotten in. Because I'm sorry, we paid 80 for Anthony, right? When he was worth 40. We paid 15 for Malasia when I'm sure he was probably worth 5 or 6. We got Everton on a free, lessons flow. We paid Casemiro how much money, right? You tell me that we could not have gotten his people. You tell me that we couldn't. No, it was all because we were beaten, battered, and bruised. Then they spent money. Until I don't see things happen in front of my face, I don't care what anyone says, what anyone reports. I have to see it. These guys do not deserve my trust. None.
All right, cool, fair enough.
None.
Talk to me, Zaire. Ten Hag. Okay, Zaire is having some issues with his audio, so he's going to have to sort that out. Well, on the record is a follow-up question to this question with Ronaldo, Robert, and it is on the record: will Ronaldo be at United in February 2023? Yes or no?
Yes. Yes, he will. You know why?
Mhm.
I don't trust these men to do anything. I don't trust them. If they tell me, Robert, you are going to win $5 million tomorrow, and all you have to do is wake up, walk out the road, and say, "Excuse me, ma'am," I will never do it. I will never do it. These men are untrustworthy. They are untrustworthy. I cannot trust them. I cannot trust them. So I
The,
will
the,
say yes, he will be here.
the only way I could see Ronaldo not being here is if a Champions League club,
Mhm.
meaning a team that would have come through the knockout stages
Yeah,
and no, come through the preliminary stages and are in the knockout stages of the
yeah.
Champions League,
Mhm.
if they come in for Ronaldo, because I believe the UEFA has changed the rules, so Ronaldo would be eligible to play if he
Yeah.
goes to a new team.
Mhm.
So far, nobody has been willing to do that. The one club that seemed like they really wanted Ronaldo was Chelsea, and they eventually ended up getting Aubameyang.
Mm-hmm.
So, barring Chelsea being mid-table, really struggling to score goals,
Yeah.
I would have to agree with you that I think when February rolls around, Cristiano Ronaldo would still
And
be a Manchester United player.
I'll say another thing too. For those who think that we are gonna buy players in January, on unless we are not 10, 11, 12, you know, buy nobody.
We will buy a player in January, yeah, sure.
Chad, you told me
Remember,
a
I said it.
story.
I know this was not the topic for the record, but remember I said it. We will buy a player in January. I don't think Ten Hag is mixing matters. Jose Mourinho, one could say Jose had a lot of clout, but I don't think Ten Hag is mixing matters. Ten Hag, we are going to buy a player,
No,
an attacking player in
Chad,
January. Remember, I said
you have said this numerous times, and most times you're wrong.
no, I was not
You
wrong.
were
It
wrong.
may have happened late in the window, but I said we were going to buy players
All right.
at the beginning of the window. I expected us to buy. It was four transfers. Remember, we had conversations at the beginning of the
Right.
window.
Yes.
How much players, and I predicted Manchester United would get 3 to 4 players in the window,
Mm-hmm.
and I was
Yes.
right. We
Right.
got those players,
But when?
and I expect that we will get
It is when.
another player, at least one player,
Yeah.
in the January transfer window. It
Okay.
don't matter if it's the last day, we will
Mhm.
get a player.
All right. I'm sorry. I don't know. But coming
But
to
Ronaldo,
Ronaldo,
I agree with you that
yes.
more
Yeah.
likely than not, Ronaldo would not would still be here,
Yeah.
barring something going horribly
And
wrong.
I
could see
and I do
somebody else.
think that the that again, this is off the record. This is off the record. I believe the FIFA people will do whatever they gotta do, right? They will pray to whoever they gotta pray to create a Portugal Argentina final. They will do it this year. This year
A
they will do
Portugal
it.
Argentina final.
Yes, they will do it. They will do it. They
I
will
actually
find a
would.
way.
I actually would love a Argentina Portugal final.
They will do it, or at least somehow they will make a way for them to meet. Remember, this is these two guys' last World Cup, and whoever wins that, if Messi wins, Ronaldo will leave, and he will go to UAE or wherever and make his money. If he wins, however, he will come back to buy us, and he will still be old, but he'll be here still.
He'd still be old. All right, folks. So we heading into the top shutter and boo boo man segment. What is that? The top shutter is that player, is that coach, is that team, is that sportsman or woman that is having an absolutely wonderful week. The Midas touch, whatever they touch turns to goal. They're having a great week. The boo boo man is the complete opposite. You walk outside, bird poop on the boo boo man head. Everything that they are touching is just crumbling before their hands. Nothing is working out for them. Same concept: player, club, sports personality, right? So here we go. Well, Robert, it is only you and I alone today. So talk to me. Who is your top shutter and boo boo man of the week?
Well, top first, because there's only one. There's only one. There's only one. You know who it is. I know who it is. The whole world knows who it is. There's only one person in this whole world that is not a real person. This man is not real. He is an android. He is a spirit. He is a deity. He is. He came here from from by Zeus' own loins. You know, this man is not real. Haaland is not real. Haaland is a cheat code. Haaland is just, I don't know. This thing. The man has it's see. Do you remember Space Jam when the aliens had the ball and they took all the powers? Haaland had a ball in his youth that got all the powers of all the best players in the world, and now he has all. Now he has all. All. He has no right to have the control of Messi, but he does. He has no right to have a left foot, right, and a right foot, but he does. He have the height of Zlatan. He have the
And the leaping ability of Ronaldo.
of Ronaldo. Why? How? This he's not real. And the only good thing about him that the man is not handsome at all. He's a very weird looking man. So at least I feel good that I am more handsome than Haaland. I am. Because if he was handsome, I would say, dog, I'm sorry. That's not fair. If he was really handsome, that's not fair. But
You
you
done,
know,
you done, you done have the football skills of a supernatural being already, and then you're good
mhm.
looking on top by thy wickedness. Thy
Yes.
wickedness.
Yeah. So yeah, boy. So I would say Haaland is my top shotter, of the week. He is, and um my boo boo, I would say unfortunately would have to be, you know, my club, because we we didn't fare too well in the derby, and then
We didn't bounce back the
we
way we were supposed to bounce back.
no, you're facing a team named Ammonia, and you still can't get the job done.
That
You
lost the
know,
two previous games in
right,
the Europa.
right, and you still can't. No, and so I have to say my team have to take boo boo, have to.
Fair enough. Martin Philip is saying his boo boo is Nottingham Forest. I feel
Why?
sorry for them. I would like that team to do well.
Why?
Um, well, Nottingham Forest,
They shot themselves in the foot. First of all, right,
Nottingham.
you buy
Yeah, but they
Lingard,
get
and then you buy Dean Henderson. Obviously, and then you buy 15 other players, plus 15 more
Are you
players.
saying Nottingham Forest is where they are because they have two former United players? Is that what you're
No,
saying?
One Lingard,
And they
one.
have an next one on loan,
Right,
and
right,
that is why they're struggling.
and plus the 5,000 players who they brought in after
Right.
the fact.
Yeah.
You,
The,
you,
the, the last few
you-
teams in the Premier League that used that approach didn't fare well.
no,
Hopefully they will catch themselves. I don't know who will take their place if they
mhm,
start to win games, but to be the first team that Leicester beat for
yeah,
the season, I could understand why Martin Philip read them as a boo because
mhm,
Leicester hasn't beaten anybody.
nope,
9 games in, you
hmm
are the first team Leicester beat,
yeah,
and they beat you 4-0.
yes,
You're the only team who in score against Leicester.
hmm
If you and I, Robert, start a 5-a-side and play Leicester 11, we would score.
yes.
Nottingham Forest did not score against Leicester. So I totally understand why they are batting Phillips Boo Boo. My top shutter and Boo Boo, again, it goes without question, Haaland. One could say, oh gosh, pick somebody else, Robert, don't say Haaland. No. It have nobody else to pick.
Did you see him on
It,
Tuesday?
it have levels to things.
Yeah.
And right now, he just on another level. Why should I
Yeah.
try to pick some lesser
No.
something to say, yeah, well, my
Did you
top
see
shot
him?
are
Did you
different? No.
see his interview on Tuesday?
No, I didn't watch his interview.
They asked him, "How do you feel in the game?" He was like, "It don't even matter to him. It don't matter. We don't matter to him. You don't understand. We don't.
The
We
one
don't
thing I would
matter."
add, the one thing I would add,
Mm-hmm.
right? I would add it to my Haaland pick is I have to give Jude Bellingham an honorable mention in the top shutter as well. Jude
Mm-hmm.
Bellingham is also having some really good games for Dortmund recently and scoring some good goals. So Jude Bellingham, I need to give him a notable mention as well.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of my boo boo, because we won today, I agree with your assessment, but because we won today, I I can't give my team as a boo boo of the week. Um, I am going to have to go to Tottenham Hotspurs. I Anybody could have won between Tottenham Hotspurs and Arsenal, right? Anybody could have won,
Mhm.
but I didn't expect Spurs to take three,
Yeah.
right? Because Conte's teams are normally defensively sound, so I didn't expect them to take three. And okay, you lose on the weekend, you lose to the team that on top of the table. That's no skin off your back. That could happen to anybody. But you play a substandard team in the middle of the week in Champions League, and you lose. You didn't win again. That was supposed to be Spurs' bounce back game,
Yeah.
and they didn't win.
No.
So right now, I want to say Spurs, and
Mhm.
then this weekend Spurs playing Brighton, and Brighton is no easy team for anybody right now.
No.
Brighton running at anybody. I ain't
Mhm.
saying they'll beat Spurs, but they're running.
Mhm.
So let's see what Spurs do. Let's see what Spurs do this weekend. But right now, Conte and Spurs is my
Game on.
boo
Yeah.
for this week. Um, Peoples, thank you so very much. Remember, press that like, subscribe if you're watching us on YouTube. And if you're not watching us on YouTube, go to YouTube sometime, click that subscribe button, help grow the channel, share with your other United friends, and let's build the thing. Let's build the thing. Remember, once we reach the 10,000 subscribers, we have a officially signed Cristiano Ronaldo shirt that we will be giving away at the end of the season. President Chad, Robert Wallace, we heading out. Red Devils don't die, we multiply. Manchester United next game is on Sunday. We are
Oh
playing
yes.
Everton. For
Mhm.
anybody who's interested in connecting with us to watch the game, we're going to be at Blazers, which is opposite the Oval. Enjoy the rest of your Thursday, people.